A Foreseen Death. A story by Manya Munjal. The last water drop had come twirling down in the throat of Jane. It seemed no possible outcome to arise, which could lead to positivity. All the doors were closed, dreams shattered, and of course lungs were puffed up. Down came an ant, sliding on the slope and rising for its life. It seemed determined, both to survive and to kill. Thomas sat unappealingly on the peak of a rock, seeming both glee and mourn. Where are we now? The sip of water is gone, we don't have food, and yes, of course, we are lost. Sir, that's not probable, but it is certain. I don't even know why did I accompany you here, said Jane, knowing the fact that they were lost. You accompanied me, miss, because I am your husband. He, seems not too funny, right? Just pull back your nervous horses and relax your nerves. I don't see any concern out here. It is definitely so cozy and warm place to settle down, isn't it, miss? Said her husband Thomas. Yes, why not? Oh, Thomas, let's do one thing, why not to settle down here only? In this giant, unerupted, goodwill volcano only? Seems not too bad, right, when every morning we wake up, we find the volcano coughing and puffing with the tons of smoke and dust. We would get to witness these magnesium rock, this iron flowing out of the craters, and needle to add we would get a free subscription of watching our death also. Ah! How imaginative! Right, Thomas? Jane exclaimed with a sigh. To the viewer's general idea, a volcano seems much more horrifying than it generally is. With loads of inquisitive things to come across and to topple upon. On one side, when Jane seemed to be very annoyed, whereas Thomas, very ruefully, first looks at Jane, then towards the thick flowing river of iron, and then towards the top, as if he was looking towards his own fate. He hugged his wife so rigorously as if he and equals knew that something would have happened to her. When he lunged ahead, Jane accompanied him, they both sat wondering in the vast volcano. Jane though seemed concerned that why her husband had been behaving so abruptly since quite a few hours, but she was not the right person to ask the latter about what the concern was. After walking for a few hours, they both reached a place that seemed like a rock, together shattered into pieces. Even their one step could lead them to their own death, but how would Jane be so precise? As she stepped forward, Thomas pulled her back, and within a matter of seconds, the whole land began crumbling as if someone had been banging several wafers. Thomas regretted of coming to this place and said Jane that he wanted to spend all his time with her. Jane assured him that nothing would happen until she fell quite a lot ill. The temperature of the volcano raised like fire spreading in the forest. Every moment was turning out to be both disastrous, nerve-wracking. It seemed that it had been written in their own destiny only that something would have happened with both of them, and for sure Thomas knew what was going on. He never left the hand of Jane until they came to a common seating. They both sat down, working out on the things that could happen the next. The fierce lave blew out of the volcano, but thankfully they were both out of reach from it. They went over the magnetic fields, large rocks, and even over the mineral caves. People say that going together on a journey is very relaxing. It is, with no doubts, but it is only relaxing if someone doesn't know the failing outcome of what will happen the next. Life seems to be much miserable when you already know the fatal outcomes of it. And yes, needless to add, what is life without some flavorful twists and turns in it? I have read that you have to live through your worst parts of life, so you never take your own best parts for sure. In this case, one has to experience the thing while the other already knows the parts. But still, Jane and Thomas are continuing their journey without any reason. Jane becomes very doubtful over the sudden melancholy of her husband. She is even sorrowed, but to cope up with all the disastrous events, she makes a meek face while walking ahead. On the first hand, we should not have come her to this place only. This large volcano, all these craters and lavas and magmas. Oh God! Literally, I have made a mistake bringing you here this time. I am always right, but yes, this time I have no reason to disagree with the fact that I proved to be wrong, said Thomas, with tears flowing down his eyes. It is okay, my dear, we will surely get a way to escape out soon. If we both are together, then nothing can happen, we both together make a perfect duo, right? Replied Jane with a spark in her eyes. She was determined as if she could challenge all the mishaps that were in the way of their climbing. Thomas went to take a nap, and as he opened his eyes, he saw himself on the top of the volcano, imagining everything. He knew that Jane would have been crumped by a rock, dead, to be never found again if they had entered that strange volcano, so that is why he was narrating the entire consequence to Jane, before they turned up to go to the crater of the volcano and experience some life-threatening things. He was satiated, as he knew that now Jane wouldn't insist him to go inside that volcano, and they would together live a happy life. Jane, where are you? I have been waiting for you, my honey. Let's climb back home. I promise going in this volcano would not do us any good. Oh Jane, where are you? Said Thomas, who was in a hubbub, not seeing his wife with him. To his horror, a hustle-bustle happened, indicating that a person had jumped into the crater of the massive volcano. Thomas knew the fate. He saw the determined ant slopping against the volcano once again, and then heard a sound saying that the water, or the last sip of water, is gone. According to the story narrated, Thomas had to go to the crater of the volcano and live with his wife. But it seemed as if the destiny would turn out to be wrong this time. Thomas went to his home, enjoyed every part of his life, and never returning to the volcano. Thomas, oh Thomas, where are you? The sounds came from the base of the volcano, but how could some Thomas come when he was not there only? Several hours later, a rock fell into the volcano, and a loud shriek came from the volcano, depicting a woman to be dead, with her remains eaten by the organisms. The birds flew away, snakes scampered to their shelters, and the sky turned black. It seemed that even the sky was mourning over the unfortunate death and, of course, the turn of the destiny. Blood can never become water, but yes, the destiny proved to be wrong in this case. Alas? A story presented, written and created by yours truly, Manya Munjal.